Naruto, Hyuga member awakens godly Tenseigan. Episode 171. When I came to the residence of the Senju family and looked at the family like a small town, Hyuga Chen was stunned. Could it be that this is the top big family, really big? I didn't expect the Senju family to be so powerful when they were brilliant. Hyuga Chen shook his head and sighed. Looking at the Senju family at this time, Hyuga Chen could not look directly at the desolate Senju family. Although these are two worlds, the two worlds are basically the same. In other words, the world of Hyuga Chen, the Senju family was so strong before. Without disturbing anyone, Hyuga Chen sneaked into the Senju family. After catching a few people to check their memories, Hyuga Chen went straight to the Senju family's clan bank. Coming out of the heavily guarded clan library, Hyuga Chen used a group illusion, and then swaggered into the Senju family clan library. Looking at the piles of various ores, Hyuga Chen kept walking and walked directly inside. These ores were used to forge ninjas and were of no use to Hyuga Chen. When I got to the innermost point, I started to see some precious things, but Hyuga Chen still didn't look down on it. What he wanted was the sword of Budu Yuhuan. In the deepest part of the clan library, Hyuga Chen finally found the Pudu Royal Soul Sword. After the artifact was in hand, Hyuga Chen immediately left the Senju family. After leaving the Senju family, Hyuga Chen rushed to the Senju family's old rival, the Uchiha family. Hyuga Chen went to the Uchiha family to see if he could get the 10-punch sword and Yata mirror. Although these two artifacts seem to be conceptual artifacts that activate Mangekyo and are awakened autonomously, who knows if there will be an entity. It is like the royal soul of Budu, which can be transformed into an entity or a spirit weapon to be armed on Susanu's body. Regardless of whether there is it or not, Hyuga Chen has to check it out and look at the collection of the Uchiha family. If there is anything good, it happens to be accepted together. When it comes to the Uchiha family's residence is no smaller than that of the Senju family. In fact, these families have developed into independent small villages. So the reapplication came to the treasure house of the Uchiha family. Hyuga Chen began to search. As long as he saw it, all of them were thrown into the treasure of the king. Some useless but beautiful items were also thrown into the treasure of the king by Hyuga Chen. He has nothing to do with the treasure of the king, and of course he has to work hard to collect the treasures. Enrich the treasure house. After searching for the Uchiha family, Hyuga Chen did not find the 10-punch sword and the Yata mirror, but instead got the Kusunaru sword. This Kusunaru sword is not the same style as Orochimaru and Uchiha Sasuke. It has an indestructible blade, a blade that cuts off everything, and also has the power of sealing. Unexpectedly, the Uchiha family actually has the Kusana sword. It seems that it is not in vain. Hyuga Chen fiddled with the Kusana sword. There are many Kusanagi swords, including the Ten-Fist sword, which is also a kind of Kusanagi sword. As for which one is the strongest Kusanagi sword, Hyuga Chen doesn't know. Anyway, the one in his hand is not weak. As far as the sharpness is not worse than that of Ryujin Jaka, it is sharper than the Pudu Royal Soul Sword. Its sealing power is not as good as the 10-punch sword, and it cannot be turned into a spiritual weapon to be armed on Susanoo. Generally speaking, the Kusunaru sword is not bad, but in Hyuga Chen's hands, I am afraid that the value of the collection is greater than the practical value. After getting the Kusunaru sword, Hyuga Chen was satisfied and left the residence of the Uchiha family. After leaving the Uchiha family, Hyuga Chen entered the system space and took a look, and found that Shueji and Sarah were very harmonious, which made Hyuga Chen very satisfied. After caring about Sarah, Hyuga Chen left the system space. After Hyuga Chen left the system space, Shueji and Sarah, who were originally good sisters, immediately changed. Sarah followed Shueji in fear, like a little maid. I'm very satisfied with your performance, so I won't punish you. Shueji nodded in satisfaction. Sarah looked bitter. She just wanted to sue Hyuga Chen, saying that Shueji bullied her, but in the end she was persuaded, because Shueji's punishment had scared her, and she didn't dare to be alone now. Of course, Sarah did not complain to preserve her self-esteem, because she felt it was a shame to complain, and one day she wanted to find a place by herself. Shueji sighed inwardly, but fortunately Sarah didn't complain, otherwise a scolding would be indispensable. After Hyuga Chen came out, there was a strange look on his face. He felt that Sarah's expression seemed a little wrong. But Hyuga Chen didn't think much. Next, Hyuga Chen went to Hyuga's house, and found nothing in the end. The Hyuga's house was indeed poor, and there was no good thing that Hyuga Chen saw. Then Hyuga Chen visited other families in the Land of Fire. Apart from getting a sword, Hyuga Chen got nothing. This sword is not ordinary. The legendary demon sword village Masaru, Hyuga Chen, indeed perceives the evil power from above, and this power can corrode people's hearts. However, this little power is far from eroding Hyuga Chen. I feel like I can open a shop to sell sword. Hyuga Chen spit out slightly. A few days later, the country of fire exploded, And all the families patronized by Hyuga Chen knew that their family's belongings had been stolen, so the entire country of fire was about to come. Hyuga Chen didn't just get 3 swords, but also a lot of valuable things along the way, such as a large number of ninja kunai, shurikens, ninja swords, and some valuables. Especially things like detonating talisman were all taken by Hyuga Chen, and all the big and small families searched it again. If you sell what Hyuga Chen gets, Hyuga Chen is definitely the richest man in the ninja world. Looking for the news in the tavern, Hyuga Chen also learned that the Hyuga clan and the Huiyoruchi clan are at war, and the group of iron-headed children of the Huiyoruchi clan actually offered a reward for his head. It's not far from the battlefield. Let's see the battle of this era. Hyuga Chen smiled, and then left the tavern. After Hyuga Chen approached the battlefield of the two races, shouts of killing continued. The confrontation between Hyuga and Huiyoruchi can only be described as wonderful. Both sides rely on physical skills to eat. Fighting together is more exciting than the confrontation of ninjutsu. Although the gentle fist method carries the word soft, it is actually violent, and the bones are the king of melee fighting. The two families are evenly matched, and the Hyuga family still has a slight advantage. It is mainly the Huiyoruchi family that not everyone can awaken the bones. TSK Tusk, I have to say that the fighting power of the ninja at this time is much stronger than that of later ninjas. Hyuga Chen stood on a tall tree in the distance, watching the battle not far away. Hyuga Chen looked at the Hyuga family, who was violently forced, and he couldn't believe what he saw, the irritable gentle fist. It can only be said that the Hyuga family at this time is indeed worthy of the name of a big family, and it is far from what it can be compared to when it became a soy sauce party. The two families fought for more than 10 hours, leaving dozens of corpses, glaring at each other, and then temporarily rested to prepare for the next battle. Episode 172. Seeing the end of the battle, Hyuga Chen left boringly. What I just watched was intense. Suddenly I stopped fighting now, which was very disappointing. Finding a remote place in the land of fire, Hyuga Chen stopped. Summoning technique, Ghetto Statue. The Ghetto Statue, which was far away on the moon, was shaking. After a while, Hyuga Chen forced summoning away. The Otsutsuki family who guarded the Ghetto Statue were all bewildered. Looking at the tall Ghetto Statue, a trace of greed flashed in Hyuga Chen's eyes. Resisting the idea of devouring the Ghetto Statue, Hyuga Chen began to plan. His summoning Ghetto Statue just wants to complete infinite Tsukuyomi in this world and plunder the entire world of chakra. Since Hyuga Chen knew that this world was a parallel world, Hyuga Chen had this idea in his mind. He wants to accomplish what Otsutsuki Kagaya hasn't done, and take all the chakras of the world as his own. To be an enemy of the whole world, thinking about it makes me feel exciting. Hyuga Chen looked at the sky and smiled faintly. Take out the chakras of the 9-tailed beasts that have been sealed in the body, and then use the magic dragon to seal them all, and then seal the chakras of the 9-tailed beasts in the Ghetto Statue in turn. After injecting the tail beast chakra, the Ghetto Statue moved a bit, then slowly stood up, began to come alive, and changed towards 10 tails. 277 Hyuga Chen stood in front of the Ghetto Statue, quietly watching the changes of the Ghetto Statue. After a long time, the transformation of the Ghetto Statue was completed, and the sky roared, and the huge 3-hook jade Rinnegan exuded a blood-red light. Rinnegan, the 3-go jade? Hyuga Chen looked into 10 Tails' eyes, without surprise or disappointment on his face. It's time to recover the tail beasts quickly. I think the old guys should have been alarmed. Hyuga Chen jumped to the top of 10 Tails and controlled 10 Tails towards the Kingdom of Wind. 10 Tails was resurrected, and many people were shocked, such as Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Otsutsuki Himura, Black Zetsu, the great immortal of the 3 immortals. And those who heard the roar of 10 Tails were shocked. Toad Sage opened his eyes and quickly summoned Shinzua Xianren and Shirma Xianren. Big Toad Sage, I don't know if you call us, what's the point? Shinzua Xianren and Jima Xianren asked quickly, looking at the expression of Toad Sage. It seems bad. It was the first time they saw sadness in the eyes of Toad Sage, anyway. The great Toad Sage sighed, alas. I see the destruction of the world, and a demon will destroy the entire world. Shinzua Xianren and Jima Xianren looked at each other. Could it be that Toad Sage had dreamed of the future again, but it was not reliable at all? Don't doubt, 10 Tails that once destroyed the world has been resurrected. You must find a way to prevent 10 Tails from regaining power, and be careful of a person named Hyuga Chen. Big Toad Sage said solemnly. Looking at the solemn expression of Toad Sage, Shinzua Xianren and Jima Xianren did not dare to be careless. It was the first time they saw Toad Sage so solemn. This is a disaster for the entire world, and we cannot escape Mount Mayaboku. It is now for our survival. Toad Sage solemnly reminded again. Eh? Yes, we will immediately notify the people in the ninja world to pass the news. Shinzua Xianren replied. After that, Shinzua Xianren summoned the people who signed a contract with them on Mount Mayaboku to pass on the news. The news quickly spread to the entire ninja world. Almost as long as they are ninjas with a little bit of strength, they all know that there is a person named Hyuga Chen who will control a world-destroying beast to destroy the world. Katsuyu Senjin, this news is true. Senjohaima's expression was astonished. That's right, the former 10 tails has been resurrected. As long as you collect the other 9 tail beasts, you can get back all your power and possess the power to destroy the world. The small Katsuyu fairy who doesn't need 10 tails said softly. Senju's facial expression was a bit unpleasant, and he didn't expect the Shinokai to be raging, and the rumor that he didn't take to heart was actually true. Katsuyu Senjin, what should I do? Senjohaima asked anxiously. Actually, 10 tails is not invincible. The key is to resurrect the people of 10 tails. Katsuyu fairy's voice was serious. Does the Katsuyu fairy know the specific strength of the person who resurrected 10 tails? Senjohaima asked hurriedly. I don't know, but if the other party can resurrect 10 tails, it will definitely not be easy. Katsuyu fairy shook his head and said. Then Katsuyu fairy, I will leave first. Senju Harema's face was extremely ugly, and he left. It was about the safety of the whole world, so he was going to prepare. During the time when the ninja world was raging, Hyuga Chen has sealed 1 tail and 2 tails, captured 7 tails and 4 tails, and is now looking for other tail beasts. The whereabouts of the tail beasts are indeed difficult to find. Hyuga Chen dispatched tens of thousands of wood clone to search, and only then found the 4 tail beasts. 3 tails is hiding in the sea, right? Hyuga Chen frowned. If 3 tails is really in the sea, how to find it? The sea is endless, and it is very difficult to find 3 tails in the sea. The little mouse in the dark, get out of me. Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and grabbed it, and a dark shadow was caught. Don't do it. Misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. Black Zetsu said sullenly, but his heart was so gloomy. Black Zetsu was extremely wary of this person who suddenly appeared and resurrected 10 tails. Head, do you know where 3 tails is? Hyuga Chen sneered, then asked. I don't know, I'm just passing by. Black Zetsu was more vigilant in his heart, and at the same time he tried to escape, but the space around him seemed to be frozen, making it difficult for him to move. Since you don't know anything, there is no need for you to live. A fierce light flashed in Hyuga Chen's eyes. Seeing the killing intent revealed by Hyuga Chen, Black Zetsu really felt the danger, the fatal danger. No, I actually know. Black Zetsu yelled, how he died willingly, before his mother was resurrected. Then take me, if you dare to run, I will make you better than death. Hyuga Chen said coldly. The guy Black Zetsu has lived for 700 to 800 years, and he must have a lot of knowledge about the situation of the tail beast, which is why Hyuga Chen did not kill him. Black Zetsu was forced to lead the way, and he didn't know why the other party knew that he knew the whereabouts of 3 tails. My lord, my little brother heard that a man of God had resurrected the legendary beast, so he came here to surrender to the adults. Black Zetsu said flatteringly. Hyuga Chen heard this, with a playful smile on his face, and did not say anything. My lord, you got 10 tails, do you want to rule the world? Black Zetsu tentatively tapped on the side. No, I want to become 10 tails Jinchuriki, and launch infinite Tsukuyomi, to put an end to the war and achieve permanent peace. Hyuga Chen's solemn voice came. The voice seemed serious, but Hyuga Chen's face was filled with a smile that could not be concealed. Of course, Black Zetsu walking in front can't see it, he is ecstatic now. Unexpectedly, this mysterious man's plan is completely consistent with his own plan. Wouldn't it be possible to take the opportunity to resurrect his mother? Episode 173, My Lord Wants World Peace? Yes, I'm tired of this kind of killing chaos. Sage of 6 Paths' Ninzong is wrong. Chakra has not helped humans, but has become the source of disaster. I want to stop all this and let everyone in the illusion. Get everything you want. Standing on top of 10 Tails' head, Hyuga Chen's voice was flat but contained great power. The adults work hard to achieve peace. They are really kind, and it's right to follow the adults. Black Zetsu said moved. I don't know how the Lord learned about the method to resurrect this fierce beast. Black Zetsu glanced at 10 Tails with a frightened look, and asked tentatively. After experiencing the previous ecstasy, Black Zetsu felt that Hyuga Chen's words were all loopholes. He did not guide the other party. How did the other party know infinite Tsukuyomi and 10 Tails? These things are all secrets buried in history, and few know these secrets. I learned this from a friend who has seen the stele left by Sage of 6 Paths, and told me all the things recorded on it. After Hyuga Chen glanced at Black Zetsu, he said faintly. Feeling Hyuga Chen withdraw his gaze, Black Zetsu suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Just now, he felt that everything was seen through by the other party. Black Zetsu silently led the way, and didn't dare to ask blindly. If he asked a little more, the other party would doubt himself. No matter what the other party's purpose is, as long as the other party becomes Ten Tails Jinchuriki, they will never escape, and then his mother will be resurrected. What's the matter with your appearance? Isn't it natural? Hyuga Chen asked softly, sitting on top of Ten Tails' head. Black Zetsu stunned for a moment, and then said, My lord, I am born with the limit of blood succession. Because of the black appearance, no one likes it. I was abandoned at birth. Oh. That's the case, it seems that you are also a poor person. Hyuga Chen said with a suffocated smile. A few days later, Black Zetsu took Hyuga Chen to a sea. Master Chen, Three Tails is in this sea area. Black Zetsu pointed to the huge sea area in front of him and said. Hyuga Chen nodded, no need to say from Black Zetsu, he has sensed Three Tails chakra now. Black Zetsu, I want to know how you knew the whereabouts of Three Tails. Hyuga Chen looked at Black Zetsu with indifferent eyes. Black Zetsu was stunned, how does this make him answer? Master Chen, I knew it accidentally. Black Zetsu could only forcefully find an excuse to stop him. Hyuga Chen glanced at Black Zetsu faintly, and then reached out to aim at the sea, universal pull. The majestic gravitational force pulled the sleeping Three Tails on the bottom of the sea. Before Three Tails could wake up, 10 Tails released the chain and bound Three Tails. After sealing the 3 tails, Hyuga Chen sealed the 4 tails in again, and then 5 tails, 6 tails, 8 tails, and 9 tails were not caught. Black Zetsu, next is the time for you to show your role. Find the whereabouts of the other 4 tail beasts. If you can't find it, it will be useless. Hyuga Chen looked at Black Zetsu sharply. Black Zetsu had a bitter expression on his face. He really didn't know where the other 4-tailed beasts were. He knew the whereabouts of 3 tails, because 3 tails didn't like to move. But to ask him to find 4 running tail beasts, Black Zetsu couldn't do anything. Master Chen, how can I find the 4-tailed beasts alone, don't you embarrass me. Black Zetsu cried. Hyuga Chen took a deep look at Black Zetsu. It seemed that he really didn't know the whereabouts of the other 4 beasts. Then you can look for it slowly, anyway, I'm not in a hurry. Hyuga Chen left a faint word, and then left with 10 tails. He asked Shueji, no matter how long he stays in this world, it will be the time he came to this world after he returns, so Hyuga Chen is not in a hurry. After Hyuga Chen walked away, Black Zetsu's face immediately turned black, even though Black Zetsu's face was originally black. Hyuga Chen, Hyuga, are they from the Hyuga family? Why is there no Byakugan? What is his purpose, and how did he know infinite Tsukuyomi? Black Zetsu whispered. One question after another appeared in Black Zetsu's mind, making Black Zetsu unable to think. Black Zetsu wants to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya, but does not want to have too much contact with the mysterious Hyuga Chen. His instinct tells him that Hyuga Chen is very dangerous. But Black Zetsu didn't want to give up this good opportunity. He had waited for more than 700 years and didn't want to wait any longer. So Black Zetsu struggled and didn't know how to choose. It took a long time for Black Zetsu to react, and he found that he had no choice, and the choice was entirely in the hands of Hyuga Chen. I don't believe you can beat your mother. When you become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, it will be when your mother is resurrected. Black Zetsu said fiercely. Black Zetsu had no idea that Hyuga Chen had never thought of becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki. He just wanted to use the power of the sacred tree to recover chakra, and then swallow the power of the sacred tree. After putting 10 tails into the space created by his Tenseigan, Hyuga Chen began to think about the benefits this world could bring him. In the Naruto theater version, there is a box of bliss, the final weapon of the Sage of 6 Paths period. Maybe you can find it to see if there is any in this real world. Hyuga Chen pinched his chin and said silently. After thinking about it, Hyuga Chen went straight to the country of grass. He remembered that the box of bliss was in the country of grass. He was very curious about the final weapon of the Sage of 6 Paths period. This name is very big. With the speed of Hyuga Chen, he soon came to the country of grass. There are also several families in the country of grass, but they are all small families that are not worth mentioning. If you want to find the box of bliss, you have to look among these families. There may be intelligence in those families, or the box of bliss is under the control of those families. Hyuga Chen separated several shadow clones and asked them to search. Hyuga Chen caught a rabbit by himself and made a roast rabbit to satisfy his appetite. The night was calm. Hyuga Chen sat on the roof of a house built with wood style, looking up at the sky. At this time it was night, and the bright moonlight shone down, making the silent night a little brighter. Take a few branches, and put them in the brazier raised on the roof. The brazier is golden rabbit with grease. Half an hour later, Hyuga Chen lay on the roof with his mouth full of oil and closed his eyes silently, as if he was asleep. Several figures came to the roof, and one of them left a seal scroll, which then turned into smoke. Hyuga Chen opened his eyes and picked up the scroll next to him. I actually found it. Hyuga Chen took the scroll in his hand, with a satisfied smile on his face. After opening the scroll, a huge box appeared in front of Hyuga Chen. Each side of the box had a human face. They were joy, anger, sorrow, and joy, which looked very strange. Fear, destruction? Hyuga Chen patted the box and began to study the material of this thing. Just now, Hyuga Chen knocked on it and found that the material was very hard. I don't know if there will be this monster inside, Hyuga Chen said to himself. Episode 174. Hyuga Chen surrounds the box of bliss and beats against the box of bliss. This material seems to have been seen somewhere. Hyuga Chen pinched his chin and thought. He always feels that he has seen this kind of material. Is it an illusion? Impossible, Hyuga Chen denied directly. He didn't think he would have an illusion. After a careful stroke, Hyuga Chen took out a long sword from the treasure of the king. The long sword exuded a strange aura, which looked like an ominous thing. This sword was obtained by Hyuga Chen from the Keiuruchi clan. The demon sword Murata Masa possesses the power of evil spirits, and can corrode others by relying on the power of evil spirits, and it will also corrode the master. After Hyuga Chen took out the demon sword village, the demon sword village shook slightly, and then returned to normal. Although it was only a slight shake, Hyuga Chen was still aware of it. There seems to be a connection between these two things. Hyuga Chen frowned slightly, and then moved the demon sword village close to the box of bliss. Suddenly, the box of bliss was fluctuating, and the demon blade village was immersed in it, making Hyuga Chen a little surprised. The box of bliss trembled for a while, and then automatically opened, and a monster flew out of it, but the appearance was not the same as the monster in the original book. Human, you liberated me. The monster's evil face faced Hyuga Chen. What are you? Hyuga Chen asked lightly. Ha ha ha. The monster laughed arrogantly and evilly, and the squally wind surging all around, the dark evil power shrouded and enveloped Hyuga Chen. You don't need to know who I am, as a reward for letting me go, be a part of me. The monster looked at Hyuga Chen with a greedy look. Could it be that humans and not humans can be arrogant at this time? Isn't it just being locked up? Hyuga Chen looked at this huge monster with contempt. The ignorant, die to me. The monster roared angrily, and then its huge claws grabbed Hyuga Chen, attacking fast, and came to Hyuga Chen in the blink of an eye, tearing him to pieces with one claw. Ha ha ha, this is your end. Hyuga Chen stood high in the sky, looking at the monster below speechlessly. His mind is not good. I can't even see the avatar, it should be a problem with my brain after being shut down for too long. Forget it, let this guy die. So as not to be unsightly here. The huge thunder power was condensed in Hyuga Chen's hands, and finally turned into the shape of a spear, and then threw it down at the monster below. Boom! After the thunder spear penetrated the monster, it burst open, and the powerful thunder and lightning raged, and the electric light could be seen here from a few kilometers away. After the thunder completely disappeared, the earth had become a piece of scorched earth, and the monster had fallen to the ground. Just when Hyuga Chen thought it was solved, the box of bliss suddenly got into the monster's body. The huge black and purple monster slowly shrank, and then turned into a human form. Thanks to you. For liberating me completely, you can call me Muramasa. Muramasa looked at Hyuga Chen cruelly, his eyes flashing with killing intent and madness. I didn't expect to lift a rock and hit myself in the foot. What a misstep. Hyuga Chen shook his head. This guy is called Muramasa. He is obviously connected to Demon Sword Cun Masa. Maybe he doesn't take out Demon Sword Cun Masa. Something will happen. Don't worry, I won't kill you. You are the best choice for my living power. Murata smiled strangely. Kill me? Are you capable of killing me? Hyuga Chen curled his lips in disdain. He swallowed the power of the dog charm and was immortal. What did the other party use to kill him? Without talking nonsense, Muramasa leaped into the sky, and two black wings appeared on his back. You trash, there is no chance to connect to me, the field of repulsion. Hyuga Chen said lightly. The powerful repulsion force forms a repulsion protection circle around Hyuga Chen, and anyone close to Hyuga Chen will be bounced out by the repulsion force. Muramasa is no exception. He doesn't have the strength to break through the repulsion circle. No matter how he attacks, he doesn't have the ability to connect to Hyuga Chen. Ha ha ha, I am getting more and more excited. Muramasa laughed wildly, a long sword appeared in his hand, and he kept hacking at Hyuga Chen. This long sword was the former demon sword Muramasa. Facing Muramasa's crazy scream, Hyuga Chen watched quietly, as if watching a monkey show. After half an hour seeing that the village was still attacking, Hyuga Chen was a little speechless. This guy is really endless, no different from a lunatic. Resolve you completely. A dark long sword appeared in Hyuga Chen's hand. This is a long sword formed by True-Seeking Ball. Put away the field of repulsion, then came to the front of the village in an instant, and slashed it down with a sword. Truth-seeking ball has the power to turn people without the power of the sixth Tao into nothingness, and it is natural to hack to death an unknown monster. After a sword was cut down, a deep gully appeared on the ground, and the monster in the village had disappeared, along with the box of bliss, leaving only the village of Demon Blade falling to the ground. Hyuga Chen used gravity to grab the demon sword village, who fell on the ground. As soon as he held it in his hand, the demon sword village made a cracking sound, and finally broke into fragments. What's this? Even if the box of bliss is gone, I even paid the Demon Blade Village Xing in. Hyuga Chen said silently. Although Demon Blade Village Xing can be regarded as an admiration at best, it is better than nothing. This time, Hyuga Chen has suffered a big loss. I came here, and actually compensated Demon Blade Village Xing. It's really unlucky. Hyuga Chen shook his head depressedly, then went into the cabin and went to sleep. After the second 10-10 lighted up, Hyuga Chen stretched out and ran to wash. In fact, he doesn't need to rest at all now, but the habit of keeping for a long time can't be easily changed. After washing and eating breakfast, Hyuga Chen left the country of grass and went to the country of fire. Hyuga Chen found a place to settle down in the country of fire, and then slowly began to look for the whereabouts of the tail beast. Looking at the group of 10 tails chakra in his hand, Hyuga Chen began to close his eyes and meditate. 10 tails was resurrected for 5.5, and he finally got the 10 tails chakra as he wished. Holding this group of chakra, Hyuga Chen slowly blended into the body, and then manipulated the fairy technique chakra and the power of the yin and yang 6 ways, so that the three began to merge. This is also Hyuga Chen's initial plan. Hyuga Chen is ready to enter the 6th level from the beginning. However, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. He didn't expect him to draw Rinnegan, get Rinnegan's pupil technique to devour God, devour chakra of Otsutsuki Himura, and directly promoted to the 6th rank. However, even though he has become the 6th realm, he can only say that he has just entered the 6th realm. If he successfully integrates 10 tails chakra, Xianshu chakra, and the power of the 6 realms, he will be able to cross to the highest point of the 6 realms. So even if he becomes the 6th level, Hyuga Chen has not forgotten this plan. Now that the preparations are all completed, it is time to implement it. Episode 175. Combining these three powers is not difficult for Hyuga Chen, but it is not easy, and it takes a lot of time. For more than 10 days, Hyuga Chen has been fusing these three powers, and it is not until today that the fusion has been completed. Feeling the chakra, whose body mass has increased by 1 level, Hyuga Chen smiled with satisfaction. Although he did not increase his combat effectiveness too much, it also increased. Especially his ninjutsu, the power released by him has been strengthened several times than before. After combining these three powers, Hyuga Chen breathed a sigh of relief, and then went to the system space to see Shueji and others. As soon as he entered the system space, Hyuga Chen was stunned, and saw Shueji lying comfortably on the chair, while Sarah was squeezing her leg aggrievedly. Seeing Hyuga Chen in front of them, Shueji and Sarah were also stunned. They didn't expect Hyuga Chen to come in at this time. Shueji stood up immediately, her eyes erratic, and her heart was very nervous. Sarah looked at Hyuga Chen, tears of grievance flowed out, and she threw herself into Hyuga Chen's arms, crying loudly. "Wu, Chen. She bullied me, she asked me to squeeze her legs, and if she didn't give me food, I would punish me if I didn't obey." Sarah cried to Hyuga Chen. "Hey, when I won't give you food, don't blame good people." Shueji looked at Sarah angrily. "Shueji, what's going on, how do you bully Sarah?" Hyuga Chen frowned and looked at Shueji. "I was just playing around with her, and didn't bully her much." Shueji said in a low voice, she did not bully Sarah much, but Sarah was timid. Sarah was angry when she heard that, and said loudly, "You put me in a small black room, and you pretended to be a ghost to scare me. Is it a joke?" She was scared out of a psychological shadow by Shueji now. Shueji smirked, lowered her head and muttered in a low voice, "It's not that you are timid yet, I don't feel anything to be afraid of." "Shueji, come over to me." Hyuga Chen shouted angrily. Seeing Hyuga Chen's angry expression, Shueji's body stiffened, and then walked over, looking at Hyuga Chen pitifully with big eyes, trying to pretend to be pitiful and escape the disaster. Although Shueji's pity, I can easily cause pity, but Hyuga Chen doesn't take this set. He has to teach Shueji today. He brought Sarah in to take care of her, but Shueji actually bullied her, so she shouldn't be able to teach her how to do it once. "I was wrong, can you spare me this time?" Shueji pouted her mouth, eyes twinkling like stars Chen, and she instantly changed into a maid outfit. Hyuga Chen looked at Shueji's full of temptation, swallowed abruptly, and then closed his eyes, determined not to be tempted. "Master, I was wrong, meow. Forgive me, meow." Shueji embraced Hyuga Chen's arms, and kept rubbing against her chest. Feeling the softness of the arms and Shueji's soft and lazy voice, like a kitten, Hyuga Chen couldn't help but open his eyes and glance at it. Then Hyuga Chen couldn't look away, and saw that the current Shueji, who had changed into a white cute cat costume, looked at him with cute eyes. I didn't expect Shueji to have such a side, she is really a little fairy. Hyuga Chen said secretly in his heart. However, on the surface, Hyuga Chen is still a gentleman, unmoved by foreign objects, so Sarah looks at Hyuga Chen with admiration. Then Sarah looked at Shueji with contempt. Huh. Seeing Hyuga Chen unmoved, she insisted on punishing her. Shueji snorted and immediately let go of Hyuga Chen's arm and turned her head to ignore him. The clothes on her body were also changed back, disappointing Hyuga Chen, who had been sneaking around. I regretted it in my heart. Anyway, he was not a gentleman, and he just pretended to be a gentleman. The opportunity to take advantage was gone, and Hyuga Chen's regretful intestines were all blue. But it doesn't matter, since the one who delivered it to the door is not sure, then you can only fight for it yourself. Sarah, don't worry, I will definitely clean up her this time, so that she will never dare to bully you again in the future. Yeah. Sarah nodded and looked at Hyuga Chen, wanting to see how he cleaned up Shueji. She looked so relieved. Snow-ji, come here. Hyuga Chen shouted in a deep voice. Shueji glared angrily at Sarah, who was watching the good show next to her, and then reluctantly walked to Hyuga Chen. The pouting Lao Gao was able to drink soy sauce. Facing Shueji's eyes attack, Sarah glared back unwillingly. Since Hyuga Chen is here, Sarah is not afraid of her. Obviously you are bullying people. Looking at you now, people who don't know think I'm bullying you. Hyuga Chen first stretched out his hand and pinched Shueji's nose. It's you who bullied me. Shueji pouted and said. Since you have said it, then I won't be able to bully you. Hyuga Chen laughed twice, and the smiling Shueji panicked. 2 steps back, when Shueji wanted to run, she was caught by Hyuga Chen, and then pressed her on her lap and slapped Shueji's ***. Snapped. Hearing a crisp sound, Shueji's ears were ruddy and her face was embarrassed, looking at Hyuga Chen with anger. It seems very unconvinced, right? If I'm not convinced, I'll fight again. Hyuga Chen raised his hand and slapped again. Shueji's face was extremely rosy, she didn't dare to raise her head at all, and she lay motionless on Hyuga Chen's lap. Hyuga Chen didn't mean to stop at all. She slapped Shueji in a series of slaps. This kind of soft touch made Hyuga Chen want to stop. Shueji was lying on Hyuga Chen's legs, her eyes were like a stream of spring water, and some numb pain made her feel a special feeling. Unexpectedly, I actually have a tendency to suffer from .nu. It's really shameful. I must not let Chen that guy know, otherwise he will change his method to bully me. Shueji thought in her heart. Thinking of how she was being bullied by Hyuga Chen, Shueji's body softened again, with a suspicious blush on her face, and she lay motionless on Hyuga Chen's lap. Sarah stood by and could clearly see Shueji's expression. Seeing Shueji's face flushed, she gritted her teeth and looked depressed, thinking she was in pain. So Sarah was very happy and kept making faces at Shueji in order to avenge her fright. Shueji looked at Sarah making faces, but she was relieved. Fortunately, Sarah, a stupid girl, couldn't tell, otherwise her face would be lost. Seeing Shueji silently, Hyuga Chen thought that Shueji was angry, and the raised palm fell gently, stroking the place where he had just hit. Then asked softly, "Does it still hurt?" Shueji froze for a while and then reacted. Listening to Hyuga Chen's gentle voice, her heart was a little sweet, and the little resentment she had originally dissipated. It doesn't hurt. Shueji sweetly Kaido. Episode 176, Hyuga Chen reached out and pulled Shueji up. Shueji had calmed down her emotions at this time, and the ready on her face was not so obvious, so Hyuga Chen didn't notice anything. Shueji was relieved when she saw it, but the slimy underneath made her very uncomfortable. What's wrong with you, Shueji? Is it still painful? Hyuga Chen asked suspiciously, looking at Shueji's awkward appearance. Shueji's body stiffened, then waved her hand and said, "It's okay, it's just a bit uncomfortable. I didn't expect you to actually be able to do it." Facing Shueji's resentful eyes, Hyuga Chen was slightly embarrassed, but Shueji did make Hyuga Chen a little angry this time. Who told you to bully Sarah? If you dare to bully Sarah again in the future, I won't be merciless and will smash your little ****. Hyuga Chen gestured to Shueji. Shueji blushed, then nodded lightly, indicating that she would never bully Sarah again. Sarah snorted and forgave Shueji under Hyuga Chen's persuasion, but she still had a lot of resentment in her heart. If it weren't for Hyuga Chen, she might continue to be bullied by Shueji in the future. Sarah, don't you want to practice? Let Shueji 453 teach you well and compensate you. Hyuga Chen stroked Sarah's soft hair. Looking at Sarah's beautiful red hair, Hyuga Chen suddenly missed Kushina and the others. After chatting with Shueji and Sarah for a while, Hyuga Chen left the system space. He also wanted to quickly find the tail beast, and then looted all the chakra in this world, and then quickly returned to his world. After Hyuga Chen left, Shueji and Sarah looked at each other. A subtle look of fear flashed in Sarah's eyes, and she looked at Shueji vigilantly. Don't worry. I have promised Chen not to bully you. Shueji said with an angry blank glance at Sarah. Sarah was still vigilant, obviously not believing in Shueji. Shueji snorted and then went to take a bath. She was very uncomfortable now. In more than 10 days, the wood clone dispatched by Hyuga Chen has found 5 tails and 6 tails, and brought them back. Hyuga Chen's wood clone is not weak, although it is exaggerated to give out 10,000 wood clone, but Hyuga Chen chakra is majestic, wood clone is still very strong, it is not impossible to catch the tail beast. Seal 5 tails, 6 tails, and 7 tails, and now only 8 tails and 9 tails are left. Hyuga Chen was not in a hurry either. He inquired about the news from time to time, or went to the system space to have a relationship with 2 beautiful girls who were bubbling. Hyuga Chen is happy, but some people are anxious. For example, Senju Haima. Senju Haima is the patriarch of the Senju family, and he has another identity, that is, the reincarnation of Ashura's chakra. Senju Haima has been unable to sit still since receiving news from Katsuyu Senjin. So Senju Pingma visited the old rival Uchiha and wanted to communicate with the current Uchiha clan chief Uchiha Tsong. However, Senju Haima was driven out mercilessly by Uchiha Tsong, and even almost triggered a war. If Senju Haima was not pressed desperately, his guard would fight Uchiha Tsong. Patriarch Uchiha, please think about it. This is for the entire ninja world. No, you came to me for an alliance for a vague news. It's ridiculous. The Senju clan has such a stupid patriarch, and your Senju clan won't be long-term. Uchiha said coldly. Uchiha Tsong, you are presumptuous, the patriarch of our Senju clan is what you can say. A Senju tribe who followed the Senju plain scolded. I'm talking to your patriarch, where it's your turn to interject, Uchiha Tsong is also what you can call. Uchiha said coldly and proudly, the kuwu in his hand flew out and pierced the Senju clan who was reprimanding. Kuwu's speed was very fast, and the Jonin-level Senju clan member was a little overwhelmed. When he reacted, Kuwu had already arrived at his front door. When he was about to be stabbed to death by kunai, Senju attacked him to block kunai. Humph. Seeing Senju Haima's rescue of the Senju family ninja, Uchiha snorted coldly to express his dissatisfaction. Patriarch Uchiha, I know you have a prejudice against the Senju clan, but the ninja world is in danger, can't we let go of our prejudices? Senju Haima, painfully persuaded. Even if the world is going to be destroyed, my Uchiha family will not let go of prejudices with you. Get out of here, or don't blame me for leaving you behind. Uchiha Tsong said coldly, and the ninja of the Uchiha family behind him also took a step forward. The grievances between the Uchiha family and the Senju family have been traced back to a long, long time ago and cannot be reconciled. Childish idiot. Looking at Senju Haima, who looked downcast, Uchiha Tsong sneered. Senju took the 2 guards and left in frustration. The patriarch, those bastards of the Uchiha family, don't appreciate it at all, so why bother to put a warm face on your cold eye? The bastards of the Uchiha family, we will destroy them sooner or later. I really don't know what the arrogance is. It is clear that the largest family in the ninja world is our Senju family. The other guard was also very upset. Enough, don't talk about it anymore. Senju murmured in a low voice, and then said, let's go to the Hyuga family and visit the Hyuga family. Senju Haima's yelling made them shut their mouths. They were still in awe of Senju Haima, the patriarch. Senju Haima is highly recognized by the Senju family, both in terms of strength and personality. The only thing that feels uncomfortable with Senju Haima is that she is too soft-hearted. Patriarch, it is rumored that the person who resurrected the destroyed beast is called Hyuga Chen. Are you asking the patriarch? Shut up, don't guess wildly until the matter has no results. Maybe someone targeted the Hyuga family and said that the person who resurrected the destroyed beast was from the Hyuga family. Don't talk nonsense. Senju Haima warned. Understand the patriarch, we won't talk too much. The 2 guards nodded, they knew what to say and what not to say. Although the Senju family is the strongest family, it does not mean that they can ignore other families, such as the Uchiha family. In fact, they are not at all weaker than the Senju family. If there is a real war, the Senju clan dare not say that they will definitely defeat the Uchiha clan. The Hyuga family is also a top family, and the strength is slightly inferior to the Senju family and the Uchiha family, and the Senju family is a big family of the same level, and they don't want to offend the Hyuga family and attract enemies for the Senju family. Senju Pingma went to visit the Hyuga family, one is to persuade the Hyuga Chen family to unite, and the other is to inquire about Hyuga Chen. There is no wind and no waves. The whole ninja world is rumored that Hyuga Chen resurrected the world-destroying beast, so there must be a reason. He needs to find out and see if he can get any news. Episode 177, This brother, Senju is visiting, please also inform your patriarch. Senju said kindly. Although the other party is just a ninja guarding the door, Senju still has no heirs. It turned out to be the patriarch Senju. I will report to our patriarch. The guard at the gate said quickly. The patriarch of the Senju family came to visit. This guard did not dare to neglect, and quickly went to inform them of the patriarch. The patriarch Hyuga did not neglect, and came to greet him personally. The patriarch of the Senju family came to visit, and he naturally wanted to save face. I don't know why Chief Senju is here? Chief Hyuga asked straightforwardly after bringing Senju in the flat. Senju groaned for a while, and then said, presumably the patriarch Hyuga has also heard the rumors about the ninja world now, right? Chief Hyuga's face immediately became unsightly, and his attitude became cold. If Chief Senju is here to ask about this, please go back. Chief Hyuga said with a cold face. Senju Pingjian saw the attitude of the Chief Hyuga, and knew he had misunderstood, so he said quickly. Patriarch Hyuga misunderstood. I just came here to form an alliance with the Hyuga family and fight against the world-destroying monster Ten Tails. Patriarch Hyuga's expression eased, and then he asked in confusion, 10 Tails? I have only heard of 9 Tails once, but I don't know if this 10 Tails is. The monster that was resurrected is 10 Tails. The 9-tailed beasts seem to be related to 10 Tails. They are all told to me by the Katsuyu fairy of the Wet-Bone Forest. I don't know too much, Senju said. In this case, on behalf of the Hyuga clan, I agree to form an alliance with the Senju clan. The Hyuga clan nodded and said, forming an ally with the Senju clan is good for them, but not harmful. After talking for a while, Senju Pingma left. Patriarch Senju. Huh? Senju Harema turned his head in doubt and looked at Chief Hyuga. Our Hyuga family has never been like Hyuga Chen. Chief Hyuga said sternly. I believe in Patriarch Hyuga. Senju nodded, and then left Hyuga's house. Patriarch, do you think the patriarch of the Hyuga family lied? The news came from Mount Mayaboku. It shouldn't be wrong. Hyuga Chen must belong to the Hyuga family? Don't say this, and visit other families with me. Senju interrupted the guard in peace. After that, Senju Pingma visited large and small families, and most of the families agreed to form an alliance. Hyuga Chen didn't know that someone had already formed an alliance to deal with him. Even if he knew it, he wouldn't care about it. Even if they didn't deal with him, Hyuga Chen would not let them go. Mount Mayaboku. Toad Sage opened his closed eyes, looking at the silent figure appearing in front of him. His eyes condensed slightly, showing a little consternation and alertness. You don't seem to be too happy to see old friends. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said lightly. You really are not dead. I don't know what you are looking for. Toad Sage asked in an old voice. I want to know who is the one who resurrected 10 Tails. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's purple Rinnegan stared at Toad Sage, very sharp. Toad Sage's body tightened slightly, and he whispered, aren't you Sage of 6 Paths? How do I know things that you don't know? Toad Maru, I don't want to deal with you in the past, but my patience is also limited. Don't force me to destroy Mount Mayaboku. Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked at Toad Sage indifferently. Toad was angry in his heart, and a huge momentum rose from his old body, smashing a huge hole in the surrounding earthquake. As a contemporary of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, he even taught Otsutsuki Hagoromo's Toad Pill. How can his strength be weak? A huge chakra is earth-shattering. Even if a 6th-level person sees it, he must be wary of 3 points. Toad Maru, you want to do it with me? Otsutsuki Hagoromo's eyes twinkled. Toad Maru thought for a while, then put away the momentum, and returned to peace again. First of all, he was not sure about Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and secondly, it was Mount Mayaboku. Once the two of them fought, Mount Mayaboku could not be kept. Toad Maru had a lot of worries in his heart. I only know that the other party is called Hyuga Chen, who wants to plunder the whole world. His ambition is bigger than you. I don't know about the others. After Toad Pill finished speaking, he closed his eyes. Really? Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked at Toad Maru suspiciously, suspecting that he was not telling the truth. He's our common enemy, I don't have to deceive you. Toad Maru opened his eyes again, his eyes more solemn. Closing his eyes just now made him see a small fragment of the future again. He saw the earth shattered, no grass, and deadly silence. Toad Maru also saw his own tragic death, the demise of Mount Mayaboku. Now the Toad Pill couldn't sit still completely, he felt that something must be done. Before, he just saw Hyuga Chen resurrect 10 Tails and then become an enemy of the whole world. At that time, although Toad Maru attached importance to it, he was not too nervous. Now that he sees his tragic death, Toad Maru can't be so calm. Although Toad Maru has lived for thousands of years and is longer than Otsutsuki Hagoromo, it does not mean that he wants to die. Haggai, let's join hands. Toad Maru looked at Otsutsuki Hagoromo seriously. Otsutsuki Hagoromo was surprised. Not long after he sealed his mother, the relationship between him and Todemaru broke down. Basically, he did not communicate with each other. Now Todemaru seriously asked him to join hands, which really surprised him. Why? That Hyuga Chen is very powerful. I just foresaw the fragment of you and me all dead in the other's hands. Todemaru said without changing his color. Todemaru did not foresee the fragment of Otsutsuki Hagoromo's death in the opponent's hands, but in order to get Otsutsuki Hagoromo to join hands with him, Todemaru also lied. Otsutsuki Hagoromo stared at Todemaru closely, and found nothing wrong. Okay, I believe you 3.0, and then we will join hands together. Otsutsuki Hagoromo nodded, his expression unchanged. Todemaru nodded, not completely trusting Otsutsuki Hagoromo in his heart. He had known the true face of Otsutsuki Hagoromo a long time ago, so naturally he would not trust him. After Otsutsuki Hagoromo chatted with Todemaru for a while, he left the summoning world Mount Mayaboku. After Otsutsuki Hagoromo left, Todemaru fell into deep thought. After a long time, he sent messages to the other two holy sites, the Katsuyu Ferry and the White Snake Ferry in the Wet Bone Forest and Ryuchi Cave. He couldn't expect that the ambitious guy Otsutsuki Hagoromo could only look for Katsuyu Ferry and White Snake Ferry, two old fellows of his generation. Although the relationship between the three holy places is not good, Toad is confident to drag them into the water, just to save their lives. Toad will not leave room to pull them in. Episode 178, Eight Tails is here. Hyuga Chen looked at Eight Tails tied up by the chain, with a light of excitement in his eyes. There is only one Nine Tails left now. As long as you get 9 tails, you will start the plan completely. The greedy flame in Hyuga Chen's eyes can burn the entire world. Roar. 10 Tails roared, his body trembling constantly. Be quiet. Hyuga Chen glanced at 10 Tails. 10 Tails, who was trembling and roaring, settled down. Wait later to clean up you. Hyuga Chen's eyes flickered, and his eyes looked far away, as if piercing through everything. Failed? Otsutsuki Hagoromo frowned slightly. He wanted to bring 10 Tails summoning over, but was blocked by a powerful force and finally failed. This failure also made Otsutsuki Hagoromo's expression dignified, and his original mentality of not putting the other party in his eyes disappeared. Could it be true that what Todemaru said is true? I will really die in the other's hands. Otsutsuki Hagoromo muttered to himself with cold light in his eyes. Forget it, get ready. Be prepared. Otsutsuki Hagoromo shook his head, and the power of 13 in his hand, one yin and one yang, flew into the distance. These two forces penetrate into the bodies of Senju Haima and Uchiha Tsang respectively, and they are the reincarnations of Ashura and Chakra of Indra of this generation. And those two powers are the power of 6 yang and the power of yin. At the critical moment, the two of them will awaken their strength and become his two thugs, which is also one of Otsutsuki Hagoromo's backs. The ninjas of the entire ninja world are frantically looking for 10 Tails and Hyuga Chen, but Hyuga Chen himself does not show up, and they will not find it for a lifetime. Is the location of 9 Tails confirmed? Hyuga Chen scanned Black Zetsu with sharp eyes. Yes, Master Chen, I have determined the location of 9 Tails, right in a canyon in the country of fire. Black Zetsu said respectfully. Now that the location is determined, take me there. When 9 Tails catches it, that's when my plan begins, and then you will be a witness of world peace. Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and patted Black Zetsu's shoulder. A black curse mark in his hand entered his body without Black Zetsu noticing it. Led by Black Zetsu, Hyuga Chen quickly saw 9 Tails, a big fox, and didn't give 9 Tails a chance to show off his strength. He immediately took 9 Tails and then collared 9 Tails. After sealing 9 Tails, 10 Tails finally got all its power back. No, it should be said that it is a stronger power, because now 10 Tails also has the tail beast chakra obtained by Hyuga Chen in his world. 10 Tails roared, and the huge monster 9-hook Jade Samsara Sharingan bloomed with blood-red light, and the world became dark. Master Chen, won't you become 10 Tails Jinchuriki? Black Zetsu looked at Hyuga Chen, who was motionless, feeling a little anxious. Black Zetsu, I have already got the 9 big-tailed beasts, you seem to be useless. Hyuga Chen said unhurriedly, with a playful smile on his face. What do you mean? I don't understand what Mr. Chen said. Black Zetsu sweated on his forehead, his body kept receding, and he was ready to escape. Seeing that Hyuga Chen didn't do anything, Black Zetsu's heart moved, and then quickly fled to the distance, scolding Hyuga Chen's ancestor 18th generation in his heart. Seeing Black Zetsu running away, Hyuga Chen did not chase, but jumped onto 10 Tails, quietly waiting for the enemy to arrive. Black Zetsu noticed that Hyuga Chen was not chasing, and he was secretly happy, showing a smile after the disaster. However, before he was happy, the pitch black spell spread all over his body, and Black Zetsu didn't even show a look of astonishment. He lost consciousness and turned into a corpse. Looking at the corpse of Black Zetsu in the distance, Hyuga Chen smiled mockingly. He wanted to run in his hands. Did he run away? Controlled gravity to grab Black Zetsu's body and threw it into Ten Tails' mouth. At this time, under the control of Hyuga Chen, Ten Tails also changed and began to evolve again, becoming a towering tree standing in the sky, and a bud that slowly opened at the top, becoming the final form of the sacred tree. Hyuga Chen smiled with satisfaction. After this period of hard work, it was finally time to harvest. Suddenly, Hyuga Chen's face became stiff, and he remembered one very important thing, that is, he does not know the illusion of infinite Tsukuyomi. Do you really want to open one eye on your forehead and become the third eye in the future? This is too ugly, even if you can close me, don't. Hyuga Chen kept shaking his head, resolutely not to use this third eye. Go to the system space and see if infinite Tsukuyomi is available in the system store. Hyuga Chen stepped into the system space, looking for the system to help. Shueji, Shueji. I quickly screened out the illusion of infinite Tsukuyomi, and I want to buy it. Hyuga Chen hurriedly shouted. I knew you would come, nah. This is an opportunity for infinite Tsukuyomi to use it. It was originally worth 100,000 redemption points. Seeing you are so poor, let's charge you 80,000. After Shueji finished speaking, a ray of light fell into Hyuga Chen's eyes, and Hyuga Chen could now feel the existence of this pupil technique. Seeing that the original exchange point of 380,000 was lost by 80,000 in an instant, Hyuga Chen felt a little pain in his heart. It cost me 80,000 oceans, and I actually bought a one-time thing. Hyuga Chen said rather depressed. Permanent need 1 million exchange points, even if I give you a discount, you can't afford it, and there is no need to buy it. When you swallow the power of 10 tails, you will naturally get the infinite Tsukuyomi pupil technique. Shueji said softly. Hyuga Chen nodded, then bid farewell to Shueji and Sarah, and then left the system space. He can't stay in the system space for too long, otherwise what if someone comes to pick the fruit? It would be a shame if 10 tails, which he had worked so hard to resurrect, was snatched away by others. When he came out of the system space, no one came to pick peaches, but the ninjas of the major families had surrounded him. Hyuga Chen was very arrogant when he came to catch 9 tails. He swayed the 10 tails and came over, so they would naturally find out. Oh, it's all here, I don't have any good things to entertain you, I'm really embarrassed. Hyuga Chen said lightly. Are you Hyuga Chen? Senju Pingma frowned and looked at Hyuga Chen. Yes, I am Hyuga Chen. Why do you want to resurrect 10 tails? Senju Haima's face was angry. It turned out to be UB asterisk 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 D. I, Kagaya Shota, finally found you. Kagaya Shota looked at Hyuga Chen with a grim face, his expression was like a ghost. Who are you? Hyuga Chen asked with a frown. What? You don't know who I am. Kagaya Sho shivered too angrily. He was beaten by the opponent, and the other side looked like he didn't recognize him, which was a shame. Regardless of the 3 or 721, Kagaya Shota rushed up annoyed, and then was entangled by the roots of the sacred tree and sucked into a corpse. A ninja who was not weak in strength died just like this, and died without even showing his strength, making the ninjas of the major families step back quickly, fearing. Episode 179, I'm not going to fight with you, a group of miscellaneous soldiers, you should die in a deep sleep. Hyuga Chen used repulsion to form a repulsion circle, repelling everyone out, without killing anyone. It's not that Hyuga Chen is kind-hearted and doesn't want to kill people, but if they die, they don't have that much value. Hyuga Chen stood there quietly, waiting for the sacred tree to bloom. As long as the sacred tree bloomed, he would launch infinite Tsukuyomi. Senju Heijian took the ninja and frantically attacked the circle formed by Hyuga Chen's repulsive force. Looking at Senju Haima and Uchiha Tsung, and sensing the strange chakra in their bodies, Hyuga Chen curled his lips in disdain. Through the special chakra in their bodies, Hyuga Chen knew that the two of them were the reincarnations of chakra brothers Indra and Ashura. However, the strength of these two is a bit weak, anyway, compared to Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, the two of them are far behind. What do you want to do? Senju Harama yelled, his instinctive feeling bad. Hyuga Chen smiled and said, I want to achieve peace. If I succeed, there will never be war. Peace is really ridiculous, there will never be peace in this world. Uchiha looked at Hyuga Chen coldly, as if looking at an idiot. Ha ha ha. Really ignorant, I want to achieve world peace, there will definitely be peace, there will be no fighting. Hyuga Chen laughed. Coming to Hokage, the world whose theme is the pursuit of peace, how could Hyuga Chen not achieve peace? What do you want to do? Senju calmed down and asked while looking at Hyuga Chen. As long as there are living creatures, there will be fighting in this world, so I will exterminate all living things and let everything be dead. When there are no living creatures, there will naturally be no fighting, and the world will be peaceful. Hyuga Chen said with a smile on his face. Crazy man, you lunatic, what is the meaning of such peace? Everyone glared at Hyuga Chen. This is to destroy the world and annihilate humanity. Hyuga Chen closed his eyes and ignored them at all, waiting for the sacred tree bud to bloom. Don't hide your secrets anymore, attack with all your strength to stop this lunatic, or everyone will die. Senju yelled, and the attack became more fierce. What is the relationship between you and our Hyuga family? Chief Hyuga asked coldly. Hyuga Chen opened his eyes and glanced at him, then closed his eyes again, ignoring his question at all. After waiting for a while, the sacred tree finally blossomed. At the moment when the sacred tree bloomed, Hyuga Chen opened his eyes and flew up. Infinite Tsukuyami. The full moon in the sky turned into the scarlet jade Samsara Sharingan, the light shining on the world, except for Uchiha Song who was protected by Susanoo. The rest of the people did not hide. Everyone was immersed in the dream of infinite Tsukuyami. God Tree Realm is coming. All the people on the whole earth who have been caught by infinite Tsukuyami are wrapped up and connected to the sacred tree. Including the summoning world is also under the control of Hyuga Chen space, opening the space channel and being affected, except for the 3 immortals in the 3 holy places, all end up with the people in the ninja world. Hyuga Chen stood on the butt of 10 tails and started to devour chakra and vitality with God Eater. The huge to almost infinite chakra and vitality were swallowed by Hyuga Chen like a whale, and then turned into his own thing. Through the connection between the sacred tree and the earth, Hyuga Chen swallows together with the life energy of the earth and the force of nature. Just when Hyuga Chen was happy, 3 huge figures appeared, and an old man wearing a white robe with the mark of Goyu also appeared. Oh, here are some big fishes. Hyuga Chen said with a smile on his face, feeling the 4 powerful auras. Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked at Hyuga Chen indifferently. Hyuga Chen has moved his interests now, and his sin is unforgivable. Junior, as long as you stop, we can forgive your fault. Todemaru's very old voice sounded, and the voice was particularly gentle, which made people feel convincing. Old Toad, put away your little tricks. It won't work for me. Hyuga Chen said with a sneer. A little sound illusion can't make it to the table at all. What are you doing so much nonsense with this little devil? I will swallow him. A greedy light radiated from the white snake fairy snake pupil. If he could swallow Hyuga Chen, he might be able to go further and even transform into a dragon. Thinking of this, the white snake fairy's saliva flowed out. Damn, the look of your stinky snake is really disgusting. I will kill you in a while. Hyuga Chen said uncomfortably. Hyuga Chen separated a wood clone, and then asked wood clone to solve the snake. Buddy, you look down on me. Seeing Hyuga Chen let the clone come to deal with him, the white snake fairy was furious. He has lived for thousands of years. Sage of 6 paths can only be a junior here. When has he been so despised? What if I look down on you? If you want me to look down on you, please show your strength. Hyuga Chen looked at the white snake immortal with indifferent eyes. Facing Hyuga Chen's eyes, the white snake fairy showed a trace of fear, and the sense of crisis in his heart kept warning him to leave here. The eyes are so terrible, even the guy Otsutsuki Hagoromo can't match it. The white snake immortal said secretly. While the white snake fairy was thinking wildly, Hyuga Chen's wood clone kicked out a tempest kick and cut the white snake fairy in half. However, the white snake immortal immediately shattered into countless small snakes, and then regrouped together. If people with intensive phobia see this, it is estimated that they will commit suicide. Otsutsuki Hagoromo took a deep look at Hyuga Chen, and then rescued Senju Haima, who had been hit by infinite Tsukuyami. Then he activated the 6 powers of Senju Haima and Uchiha Song, causing the 2 of them to grow explosively. Senju Pingma opened the Sage of 6 Paths mode, and Uchiha Song eyes evolved from Mangekyo Sharingan to Rinnegan, skipping the eternal Mangekyo stage. The corners of Hyuga Chen's eyes twitched. You are so blatantly open, does your dad know? Oh. By the way, your father is here, or your father opened it for you. Hyuga Chen can only persuade this wave of operations. 2 people who are barely super shadow level, under the power of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, already have a 6th level combat effectiveness. Can Hyuga Chen refuse to accept it? Hyuga Chen was jealous when he saw it. Although he also had a plug-in, he had obtained this strength through desperate practice at the beginning. Compared with these 2 products, Hyuga Chen felt a little bitter. This powerful force, who else is my opponent? Uchiha Song exclaimed excitedly, clenching his fist. Hyuga Chen curled his lips. You scan the surroundings. Here, the strength of the 2 of your brothers is at the bottom, and you can still feel ridiculously invincible. Episode 180, This Old Man, may I ask you who are you? Senju Haime respectfully asked Otsutsuki Hagoromo. He would not forget this kindness after the other party rescued him. I am the creator of the Order of Peace and the World Sage of 6 Paths. The majestic voice of Otsutsuki Hagoromo resounded through the world, as if swearing that he was the master of this world. I'm going to your sister's world peacemaker. Hyuga Chen's big feet are printed on Otsutsuki Hagoromo's face. I just returned a pair of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, which I was very tricky, and now I don't know where I was kicked. You are the creator of the peace and order of the world, and I am the creator of the world's destruction and chaos. Hyuga Chen roared uncomfortably. He hates being forced by others on his face. Turned around to catch Uchiha Tsong's sneak attack fist, and then punched back, deforming Uchiha Tsong's face. Senju saw this scene and hurried over to save people, but he was greeted by Hyuga Chen's kick from the speed of light. A sound of broken bones sounded, and Senju flew out several kilometers from the ground and fell to the ground, causing the ground to tremble slightly. Now that they have done their work, it is impossible for the Toad Maru and the Katsuyu Immortal to watch. The Toad Maru spit out a powerful column of water, which can easily crush a mountain. The Katsuyu Fairy spit out corrosive slime. Super Shinluo Tianjing. All attacks were bounced off, and Hyuga Chen stood proudly, his eyes revealing disdain. Heavenly Hand Strength. Uchiha Tsong exchanged positions with the shattered stone under Hyuga Chen's feet, and struck Hyuga Chen on the head with sullen expressions. The same technique as the two pillars? But it's just dispensable in front of me. Hyuga Chen used spatial teleportation, appeared behind Uchiha Tsong, and hit Uchiha Tsong with a brain collapse. This brain collapse was extraordinary. After a clear explosion, Uchiha Tsong fell to the ground and passed out in a coma. It's really fragile. Even with this little strength, I dare to fight with me. Just wipe my neck and commit suicide. Hyuga Chen stepped on his body and mocked. Toad Pill has already burst into cold sweat, whereas this abnormality in the end, the strength is simply indescribable. Kicked Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and leveled a 6-level combat power with another kick, and then a joke like a brain collapse, and another one fell down. I can perceive the fear in your heart, so just wipe your neck and commit suicide. Happily, what's the point of being alive for an old guy? Hyuga Chen looked directly at the Toad Pill. Toad Maru was silent. Even if Hyuga Chen showed such strength, he would not give up. There was hope for hard work, but there was nothing to give up. Hyuga Chen looked at the silent old toad and didn't say anything. He meant to play. If the old toad really wanted to commit suicide, Hyuga Chen would stop it instead. Although this old toad seems to be very old, but it is amazingly vigorous, and Hyuga Chen will not let it go. If you want to die, you have to squeeze your value out before letting you die. This is Hyuga Chen's rule. Katsuyu Sinjin, his physical skills are too strong, one punch and kick is so powerful, only you can come. Toad Maru said to Katsuyu Sinjin. The body of Katsuyu Immortal can reduce the damage of physique, which can also be regarded as soft and strong. My fighting power is not strong, even if it can withstand his physical skills, it is not his opponent. Katsuyu shook his head. Katsuyu's offensive ability is very lacking, basically relying on the corrosive slime that he spit out. Go up and fight Hyuga Chen, isn't it looking for abuse? Katsuyu Fairy is not stupid. At the same time, the immortal Katsuyu was very upset with the Toad Pill, and felt that this old toad was not a good thing, it was worse than the insidious white snake. I didn't fool the Katsuyu Fairy, and the Toad Pill was not angry. After so many years of living, none of them were fools. Hyuga Chen smiled coldly and kicked out a huge air cannon. The invisible air cannon bombarded the Toad Pill with strong air pressure. The Toad Pill was knocked away several hundred meters before it stopped, and blood overflowed from his body, looking very miserable. Although it looked miserable, the Toad Maru didn't suffer much damage. It was originally rough and thick, coupled with its amazing resilience, and Katsuyu's treatment, but it recovered after a while. Where's that guy Otsutsuki Hagoromo? Could it be that he ran away? Hyuga Chen frowned. The strength of his kick just now was really great, but it was impossible to kick Otsutsuki Hagoromo to death. As long as he didn't die, he could quickly recover with 6 levels of resilience. Even if you run away, as long as you don't run out of this world, I will catch you back. I will clean up you guys now. Hyuga Chen's face became cold, and there was a hint of seriousness in his expression. In an instant, I came to the top of the Katsuyu Fairy, stretched out his hand and pressed it on the head of the Katsuyu Fairy, and shouted. The chakra and vitality of the Katsuyu Fairy rushed towards Hyuga Chen frantically. Just when the Katsuyu Fairy was shocked and wanted to split into countless little Katsuyu and escape, the boundless gravity pulled him back. Toad Maru saw Katsuyu Immortal in distress, and he hurried to help. The extremely powerful celestial energy formed a light cannon in Toad Maru's mouth and hit Hyuga Chen. This trick looks very similar to the Tail Beast cannon, but it is much more powerful than the 9 Tails Tail Beast cannon, and it is estimated to be comparable to the 10 Tails Tail Beast cannon. In the face of this move, Hyuga Chen did not evade, and used Chaoshan Luo Tianjing to directly bounce the attack to the sky. At the same time, using Bachi Cheong Goyu, the endless light bullets fell like heavy rain, allowing the Toad Pill to dodge and resist the attack, and could not interfere with him. Without the toad pill in the way, Hyuga Chen ignored the resistance of the Katsuyu fairy and swallowed the chakra in his body and the huge vitality. In terms of vitality, it is estimated that the toad Maru and the white snake immortal cannot be compared with the huge Katsuyu immortal. Under the scouring of the majestic vitality, Hyuga Chen's powerful and heaven-defying physical fitness has shown a slight increase. After a few minutes, the Katsuyu immortal had no life, the original huge body, now there is only a piece of skin left, a breeze blowing, and now there is no skin. Toad Maru was horrified. I didn't expect to have such a vicious ninjutsu. Thinking of Katsuyu's painful appearance, Toad Maru shuddered. Hyuga Chen raised his head and looked at the toad pill and said, "One is already dead, and it's your turn next." Toad Maru trembled, thinking of the fragments of his foreseeing his tragic death. His heart became even more frightened, and at the same time he kept cursing Otsutsuki Hagoromo, the B***************, D, and actually left them and ran away. Toad Maru looked at Senju Hime and Uchiha San who fell on the ground, and then at the white snake immortal who was crushed by wood clone in the distance. A touch of despair appeared on his face. The survivability of Katsuyu immortal is much better than him, and it is not that he died tragically in the hands of Hyuga Chen. Toad Pill has no confidence to escape in the hands of Hyuga Chen. Episode 181, Toad Pill, it's not like you in such a panic. I remember that when I faced my mother, I never saw you so scared. The voice of Otsutsuki Hagoromo came from behind Toad Maru. Toad Pill, long time no see. Another voice came and said hello to Toad Pill. Are you Otsutsuki Himura? Toad Maru turned around and looked at Otsutsuki Himura, and at the same time he was relieved. Maybe there is a rescue now. As long as a few of them join hands, they still don't believe in injustice. Hyuga Chen. Otsutsuki Himura, ha ha ha, is it all here? Hyuga Chen laughed wildly. A guy who had been beaten to death by him once came, and what storms could it bring up? Don't talk nonsense, come and help me quickly, I can't hold on anymore. The white snake fairy shouted. Hearing there was going to be chatting over there, he was hurt when he was hit by the clone. After the white snake fairy shouted, a wooden dragon bit his neck and frantically absorbed his chakra. White snake sage transformation makes countless little snakes, escapes the bite of the wood dragon, and fights again with wood clone. Although the white snake immortal said it was serious, he was indeed crushed and beaten, but it was not too dangerous to say it was dangerous. Otsutsuki Hagoromo ignored the white snake immortal. Otsutsuki Hagoromo first brought Senju Hime and Uchiha San back to them. In other words, they were two powerful fighting forces. Then Otsutsuki Hagoromo disappeared as an afterimage, and his body appeared in front of Hyuga Chen in the blink of an eye, and the fist wrapped around chakra hit Hyuga Chen's chest. Hyuga Chen used Huangquan Bilyang Zaka to open a black cave and instantly left the attack range of Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Otsutsuki Hagoromo failed to hit Hyuga Chen with this blow, and bombarded the ground. The power was like a nuclear bomb washing the ground, and the ground was punched out of a huge pit. You actually know Huangquan Hirasaka? Otsutsuki Hagoromo frowned, his expression ugly. Huangquan Bilyang Zaka is the ultimate space ninjutsu. It can travel in any space and can be activated instantly. It is definitely the strongest space ninjutsu. The three spatial ninjutsu, Kamui, Flying Thunder God, and Tianshou-Li, can't be compared with Huangquan Hirasaka at all. Otsutsuki Hagoromo does not know this technique himself, but his brother Otsutsuki Himura knows this technique. Hyuga Chen shrugged. In fact, his space teleportation is better than Huangquan than Ryasaka. Himura, the other party is very difficult, don't keep your hands. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said. Otsutsuki Himura nodded and did not speak. Perhaps the relationship between the two brothers was very good in the past, but it is not the same anymore. Otsutsuki Himura also used Hiroizumi Hirazaka and appeared behind Hyuga Chen, pierced by the sharp blade formed by the truth-seeking ball. Time stands still. The leaves flying in the air stopped in the air, and the fight between Wood Clone and the White Snake Fairy was also still in the distance, and the whole world was extremely quiet. By the way, this is the second time I have used time with you. Hyuga Chen slowly turned around and looked at Otsutsuki Himura who used Huangquan Hirazaka to attack. It's boring. It's a shame to kill you all this way, I still want to watch you struggle a bit. Hyuga Chen kicked Otsutsuki Himura back, unlocking time to stand still. Seeing Otsutsuki Himura, Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and Toad Maru flying back and hitting the ground, they all looked confused. Don't say that they are the two, Otsutsuki Himura himself was so confused, he couldn't figure out what was going on, why did he suddenly fly back? However, the vigilance in his heart towards Hyuga Chen has risen to the apex. The moves are too weird and unheard of. Everyone didn't think about time ability in their hearts, nor did they dare to think about it. The two brothers Otsutsuki all looked at Hyuga Chen with solemn expressions, and did not dare to attack again. You have attacked so many times, isn't it time for me to turn? Hyuga Chen smiled faintly, and rose up into the dark blue chakra, wrapping Hyuga Chen around. What? Tenseigan chakra mode. Feeling the familiar breath, Otsutsuki Himura was shocked. What Tenseigan chakra mode? Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked at his younger brother suspiciously. Otsutsuki Himura didn't speak, his body was tense and very guarded. He didn't introduce Tenseigan to Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Their current relationship is not so friendly, and it is not an exaggeration to say that they are enemies. Seeing that Otsutsuki Himura didn't say anything, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was furious in his heart, and at the same time transformed into a shield with truth-seeking ball. How could it be simple to be on guard to shock his younger brother? Golden Will reincarnation explodes. The golden lightsaber was cut down, and the shield formed by Otsutsuki Hagoromo with truth-seeking ball was instantly cut in half. A slight panic appeared in Otsutsuki Hagoromo's eyes, and he used Susanoo to protect himself, while using Rinnegan's repulsive force to resist the rebirth of the golden wheel. The powerful Susanoo is the same as the paper, and the repulsive force of Otsutsuki Hagoromo cannot withstand the rebirth of the golden wheel. Fortunately, this also bought some time for Otsutsuki Hagoromo to avoid the attack of Jinluan reincarnation, but he was still cut off by one arm. But this is not a big problem for Otsutsuki Hagoromo, just one arm, it will grow back in a moment, and the resilience of the 6th level is so awesome. Otsutsuki Himura knew the power of Jinluan reincarnation, and when Otsutsuki Hagoromo resisted, he had already used Huangquan Hirazaka to avoid it. But Toad Pill, the old toad, is miserable. Although his speed is not slow, it is still not as fast as the speed of Jinluan reincarnation. In the horrified gaze, the Toad Pill was struck by the Golden Will reincarnation. The rich golden light was the last sight in the Toad Pill's consciousness. Jinluan reincarnated blast cut the Toad Pill in half, and then left an abyss on the ground that was several kilometers deep and invisible to the edge. After seeing the Toad Pill being killed, Hyuga Chen manipulated the roots of the sacred tree, wrapped around the Toad Pill's corpse, absorbing the chakra and vitality that had not yet dissipated in his body. That big toad is dead, don't struggle, you smelly snake. Hyuga Chen suddenly turned his head and looked at the white snake fairy. The white snake immortal's expression was dull, and his movements stopped. With a thud, his huge body fell to the ground and was tied up by the branches of the sacred tree. What? Is this an illusion? Otsutsuki Hagoromo couldn't believe it, and couldn't imagine that the white snake immortal was actually dealt with by an illusion. The white snake immortal is immune to infinite Tsukuyomi, so that I can see the white snake immortal's resistance to illusion, but he was actually brought down by a look. Otsutsuki Hagoromo thought it was a joke. But this is indeed true. Hyuga Chen's ultimate illusion is infinite reincarnation. As long as it does not exceed the mental power of Hyuga Chen 10 times, it is impossible to break free. If Hyuga Chen releases one to Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Otsutsuki Hagoromo will also kneel. Senior 6 ways, what should I do? Senjohime came to Otsutsuki Hagoromo and asked anxiously. His body was covered in cuts and bruises, which was the powerful recovery ability of Sage Body, and he couldn't recover for a while. Otsutsuki Hagoromo looks ugly, you ask me what to do, I still want to ask you. Really treat me as an almighty god. Episode 182, You 2 vegetable chickens with soy sauce, it's time to fall down, otherwise I will be an eye-catcher. Hyuga Chen walked towards Senjohime and Uchiha Tsong step by step. Ah. To die. Uchiha yelled loudly and used the power of his hand to come in front of Hyuga Chen, hitting Hyuga Chen's head with his palm. Hyuga Chen tilted his head just to avoid Uchiha Tsong's attack, and then a malicious smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. With a billion-volt thunder and lightning wrapped around his hands, he used the Gentle Fist method 8 trigrams 361 to attack Uchiha Tsong with Gentle Fist plus electrotherapy. In less than a second, Hyuga Chen had finished the 8 trigrams 361, and even the two brothers Otsutsuki Hagoromo could not see Hyuga Chen's shooting speed. The extremely fast attack speed caused electric sparks to emerge from the air. Even Otsutsuki Hagoromo couldn't see the shooting speed, and even Uchiha Tsong couldn't see it. After Hyuga Chen's attack was over, Uchiha Tsong fell backwards with wide eyes. Upon seeing this, Hyuga Chen quickly shot down his Rinnegan, and then entered his Tenseigan space. Boom! Uchiha Tsong's body exploded into blood mist, and a huge beam of thunder beam soared into the sky, and then exploded. Deafening sounds could be heard tens of thousands of kilometers away. A huge mushroom cloud rises on the ground, and people who don't know think that they have lost their nuclear weapons. No, this power is more terrifying than nuclear weapons. Except for the two brothers Otsutsuki Hagoromo who evaded the attack embarrassingly, Senjohime has been wiped out by the thunder to ashes. A bottomless pit appeared on the earth, and the earth in a radius of thousands of miles was in tatters, and even the sacred tree continued to emit black smoke. Ahem. Otsutsuki Hagoromo coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, his body was burnt, and his clothes had become beggars. Otsutsuki Himura was not much better, because it was so sudden that he had not had time to use Hiryuzaka to avoid it, and the attack had already enveloped him. After everything was over, Hyuga Chen walked out of the space and smashed his tongue as he looked at the earth still sparkling. Even he was surprised by this power. Thunder Fruit's offensive power was really awesome. Thunder Fruit has been developed to 1 billion volts by Hyuga Chen, which is much stronger than Ani Road. Before, Hyuga Chen kept compressing 1 billion volts of voltage in Uchiha Tsung's body, and then let all these powers burst out in an instant. This explosive power surprised Hyuga Chen. Isn't the Sage of Six Paths? Isn't it the creator of order? How come you are a beggar now? Hyuga Chen mocked Sage of Six Paths. The villain has the will. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said with a gloomy face. Huh? The villain is determined? Whatever you say. I'm not a gentleman anyway. Hyuga Chen smiled freely. A dying person, will Hyuga Chen have the same knowledge as him? Of course, yes, dare to call him a villain. Hyuga Chen definitely made him die with the sense of rhythm. A flash of light flashed, Hyuga Chen appeared in front of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and then slammed his old face with a punch. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's reaction was not slow. When Hyuga Chen was about to hit his face with a punch, he raised his hand against Hyuga Chen's fist and saved his face. With both hands firmly holding Hyuga Chen's fist, Otsutsuki Hagoromo's face turned red. This power was so powerful that he felt like he was wrestling with an ancient monster. Hyuga Chen smiled slightly, then hit Otsutsuki Hagoromo's belly with his other hand. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's eyes popped, and a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth, feeling that his internal organs had been shattered by the punch. The fist hitting Otsutsuki Hagoromo's belly shone with golden light, and the huge laser beam penetrated Otsutsuki Hagoromo's body. Otsutsuki Hagoromo left the flying body and backed up, and then spewed a gulp of blood again with a wow, supporting his feet firmly to prevent himself from falling. This time Otsutsuki Hagoromo was badly injured. All his internal organs were burned by the golden flash, and he was already dead when he changed to an ordinary person. However, Otsutsuki Hagoromo is no ordinary person. The injury looks scary, but it is not fatal to him. The vitality of the 6th level is so abnormal. Seeing the miserable situation of his elder brother, Otsutsuki Himura hesitated, then opened a cave in the air, trying to escape. Hyuga Chen also saw his intentions, and the palm of his hand burst out like a black hole, pulling him back before Otsutsuki Himura entered the cave. If you want to use Huangquan Bilyangzaka to escape, there is such an easy thing to leave Tenseigan behind. Hyuga Chen said coldly. Too much deception. Otsutsuki Himura roared and struck Hyuga Chen with both fists. In terms of physical skills, he was even better than Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Facing the attack of Otsutsuki Himura, Hyuga Chen flew like a leaf with the attack of Otsutsuki Himura. Even though Otsutsuki Himura's fast attack speed surpassed the limit of the human body, he still couldn't touch the corner of Hyuga Chen's clothes. Otsutsuki Himura felt a little aggrieved. The feeling of gathering all the strength, but hitting the empty space every time, is really uncomfortable. 80 God Airstrike. Otsutsuki Himura roared, using this ultimate arcane art of offense and defense. Heh, Hyuga Chen laughed mockingly, and then said, let you see my 80 God Airstrikes. Hyuga Chen's 80 sacred airstrikes were opposed to Otsutsuki Himura's 80 sacred airstrikes. The ground shook and the wind raged. Otsutsuki Hagoromo quickly used Truth-Seeking Ball to form a shield to protect himself, and looked up at the collision in the sky. Countless huge fists collided together, and every punch was a mortal blow, and there was no space for a mouse to escape. The sky kept roaring, and the sacred tree in the distance was shaken by the strong wind. In the collision between the two sides, Hyuga Chen was even better. His vacuum punch broke Otsutsuki Himura's fist, and fell to Otsutsuki Himura mercilessly. Otsutsuki Himura didn't have time to express his horror. He quickly turned on Tenseigan, used Tenseigan chakra mode, and protected him with Truth-Seeking Ball. Truth-Seeking Ball, an almost omnipotent invincible ninjutsu, is very embarrassing under the 80 God Airstrike, and the defense is broken in an instant, which makes Truth-Seeking Ball very embarrassing. The vacuum giant fist carried a monstrous force and bombarded Otsutsuki Himura's body. Under this kind of crushing power, everything seemed very weak. When Otsutsuki Himura was hit, blood surged in his mouth, swaying out without money. The vacuum giant fist carried the Otsutsuki Himura to the ground, raising the sky full of dust. Otsutsuki Himura was beaten into a depth of several kilometers, life and death unknown. In the distance, Otsutsuki Hagoromo had a hint of fear in his heart. This was too strong, and he didn't know whether Himura was alive or dead. It is not that Otsutsuki Hagoromo cares about his younger brother, but that he needs Otsutsuki Himura to deal with Hyuga Chen together. Otherwise, Otsutsuki Hagoromo wished that he was dead, and his eyes were not blind, because he did not see Otsutsuki Himura running away. Episode 183, Hyuga Chen looked at the huge pit that was bombarded by the 80 gods. He could clearly perceive that Otsutsuki Himura was not dead, and there was still a breath of life. Although Hyuga Chen didn't expect to kill Otsutsuki Himura all at once, he still had to sigh. He was really an immortal Xiaoqiang. Otsutsuki Himura flew out of the pit, and then fell unsteadily in the air. Fortunately, Otsutsuki Hagoromo caught him, otherwise he would definitely fall into the mud. However, Otsutsuki Himura's condition is indeed very bad. His body has been distorted and his bones are broken in half. Although he was seriously injured, as long as he was not killed by a single blow, he could recover soon. This is the abnormality of the 6th level. Seeing Otsutsuki Himura slowly recovering, Hyuga Chen was a bit speechless, and the 6th level is really the Xiaoqiang of immune to death. If Otsutsuki Himura did not enter the Tenseigan chakra state just now, Hyuga Chen might be able to kill him directly. However, after entering the Tenseigan chakra mode, Otsutsuki Himura's defense and resilience were all increased several times, abruptly withstanding Hyuga Chen's 80 and 13 sacred airstrikes. If Laozi has the eyes of death, I will hack you to death in minutes. Hyuga Chen looked at Otsutsuki Himura, who had almost recovered, and said viciously. Would you like an infinite reincarnation and kill them directly? Hyuga Chen pinched his chin and thought. Or give them a time to stand still, and then kill them with a stab. While Hyuga Chen was thinking, a dozen black spheres rose into the sky, and the majestic gravitational force pulled Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen looked at the rocks flying by him, looked up at a dozen planetary devastation, and smiled disdainfully. Planetary devastation cannot be said to be not strong, but the weakness is somewhat obvious. The black chakra sphere is the source of gravity. As long as the black sphere is destroyed, the planetary devastation will be broken. Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and flew out more than a dozen golden colors without aiming. Under the action of gravity, he automatically smashed the small black chakra ball. More than a dozen planetary devastations were cracked in this way. Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked dumbfounded, and his face was dumbfounded. Does this look dumbfounded? Chao Shenra Tianjing. A huge repulsive force came out, and the stunned Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Himura were hit. The hard bones were shattered by the powerful repulsive shock wave. The two lay on the ruined ground, and the blood kept flowing out. It won't work like this. You have to find a way to beat him. If you still have a whole card in your possession, take it out quickly. Otsutsuki Himura looked at Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's eyes flashed, and then he said, unless 10 Tails is taken, let me become 10 Tails Jinchuriki again, so I can defeat him. Otsutsuki Himura looked at his elder brother deeply, and said faintly, I block him, you go to absorb the power of the sacred tree and become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. After speaking, Otsutsuki Himura did not hesitate, clenched his fist and hit Hyuga Chen. Communicating in front of me, you guys don't put me in your eyes. Hyuga Chen said rather uncomfortably. Say it all in front of him. Is this looking down on him or looking down on him? Take out the Ryujin Jaka that has not been used for a long time, and the cold light blade shines, and the sharp edge makes the skin sting. Divine Light Slash. Hyuga Chen lifted Ryujin Jaka, and then swiped it down, cutting off the invisible sword energy towards Otsutsuki Himura. After the sword energy had reached the front door of Otsutsuki Himura could detect the invisible sword energy. Otsutsuki Himura quickly defended, but it was obviously a little late, and the invisible sword energy had already been cut on his body. Otsutsuki Himura's right arm was cut off, and his body was almost chopped in two, and this was not the most important thing. The most important sword energy did not disappear, but turned into tiny sword energy that cannot be seen by the naked eye and poured into him. Destroy the inside of the body. Moreover, Shenguang Slash is the strongest sword technique created by Hyuga Chen, and it also comes with a soul attack. Ah! Otsutsuki Himura let out a scream, then fell to the ground, unable to move his body at all. Otsutsuki Hagoromo, who originally wanted to seize the sacred tree, didn't care about the sacred tree, so he hurriedly came to Otsutsuki Himura's side to protect him. Now the two of them are grasshoppers on the same rope, as long as one is finished, the other is not far from death. Himura, are you okay? Otsutsuki Hagoromo frowned as he looked at Otsutsuki Himura, who was pale and warped. Otsutsuki Himura didn't talk at all, he felt that his soul had been cut by 1,000 swords. Now Otsutsuki Himura couldn't even open his mouth in pain, let alone reply. Seeing Otsutsuki Himura's miserable appearance, Otsutsuki Hagoromo frowned and completely lost the ability to fight. Should he be alone against Hyuga Chen? Otsutsuki Hagoromo shook his head without thinking, neither of them were Hyuga Chen's opponents, let alone him alone. Just as Otsutsuki Hagoromo was thinking about how to deal with Hyuga Chen, Otsutsuki Himura got up, with cold sweat on his face. Go grab 10 Tails and leave me alone. Otsutsuki Himura gritted his teeth and said. It is not that he is selfless, but that he knows that if Hyuga Chen is not killed, they will die. Can you hold on? Looking at the shaky look of Otsutsuki Himura, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was suspicious. Go away, or we will all die. Otsutsuki Himura yelled, then rushed towards Hyuga Chen. Golden Will reincarnation explodes. The lightsaber formed by chakra slashed towards Hyuga Chen. Head Gao Tianyuan. Hyuga Chen sneered. The 650 chakra lightsaber slashed from Hyuga Chen, but did not cause any harm to Hyuga Chen. What? How could it be possible? Otsutsuki Himura's eyes widened, and he looked at Hyuga Chen in shock. The so-called impossibility is entirely because your pattern is too small. Hyuga Chen looked at Otsutsuki Himura with a flat look. Sunny. All are ashes. Ryujin Jaka. An explosion of 6,000 degrees covered Ryujin Jaka, and the scorching temperature made the air scorch. Burn the city. Hyuga Chen waved his sword at Otsutsuki Hagoromo, as if the flame of a palm wrapped Otsutsuki Hagoromo running towards the sacred tree, trapping him inside. As long as he wants to escape, he will be chased by 6,000 degrees of flame. Trapped in the flame, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was sweating hotly, but when he wanted to rush out of the flame, he felt a sense of danger. Believing in his own feelings, Otsutsuki Hagoromo did not rush forward recklessly, and a mark was formed on his hands, and Otsutsuki Hagoromo's body entered another space. Although Otsutsuki Hagoromo doesn't know how to understand the ultimate space of Huangquan Hirazaka, it does not mean that he does not know how to do other space ninjutsu. Relying on space ninjutsu, Otsutsuki Hagoromo escaped from the circle of flames and went straight to the sacred tree. Seeing this, Otsutsuki Himura didn't bother to horrify Hyuga Chen, ignoring the reincarnation of the Golden Wheel, and rushed to drag Hyuga Chen. Episode 184, You dare to snatch my things in front of me. If you really succeed, how will I get mixed up in the future? Hyuga Chen looked at Otsutsuki Hagoromo approaching the sacred tree and said coldly. It's better to solve your troublesome guy first. Tenseigan repulsion. Hyuga Chen looked at Otsutsuki Himura, who was attacking him frantically. The powerful repulsion and gravitational force acted on Otsutsuki Himura at the same time from the front and back. Otsutsuki Himura was pinched by the repulsive force and felt like he was about to be squeezed into powder. In order not to be squeezed into blood foam, Otsutsuki Himura uses repulsive force to oppose Hyuga Chen's repulsive force. Glancing faintly at Otsutsuki Himura, who was unable to move, Hyuga Chen reached out to Otsutsuki Hagoromo in the distance, and the forceful gravity erupted from Hyuga Chen's hands. Originally only a step away from the sacred tree, Otsutsuki Hagoromo's face with a smile on his face changed wildly, and his figure was abruptly pulled back by Hyuga Chen. Otsutsuki Hagoromo made a seal with both hands and wanted to escape gravity with space ninjutsu, but the surrounding space had been solidified by Hyuga Chen, and his space ninjutsu could not be used at all. Otsutsuki Hagoromo could only watch him further and further away from the sacred tree. Without waiting for Otsutsuki Hagoromo to counterattack, Hyuga Chen came to him, with Ryujin Jaka in his hand dancing quickly, and the sky full of sword light shrouded Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Hyuga Chen's sword was too fast, and Otsutsuki Hagoromo could not keep up with Hyuga Chen's swing speed. There were gaps left on his body, and the blood had completely dyed him red. Fighting against the danger of being split in half, Otsutsuki Hagoromo finally escaped from Hyuga Chen's attack. Take a big breath, Otsutsuki Hagoromo's face is ugly, is it really going to show his whole cards? After thinking about it for a moment, Otsutsuki Hagoromo became firm. If there is no life left, then what is the use of keeping the whole cards? Heaven always stands. Otsutsuki Hagoromo shouted, his aura skyrocketing. In a short period of time, Otsutsuki Hagoromo's strength soared tenfold, and his strength was not the same as before. Looking at the explosive Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Hyuga Chen said in his heart, no wonder that Otsutsuki Kagaya can be sealed. It turns out that Otsutsuki Hagoromo is also the protagonist, and it bursts at the critical moment. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's eyes were extremely cold. As he stepped on the ground, he rushed straight towards Hyuga Chen, at a speed comparable to the speed of light. Hyuga Chen waved his hand to block Otsutsuki Hagoromo's fist, and was blasted for hundreds of meters. It's a powerful force. Hyuga Chen's expression became serious, and the current Otsutsuki Hagoromo already had the strength to make him face it. Is this your Rinnegan pupil technique? Hyuga Chen asked curiously, but he already knew the answer in his heart. Yes, this is when I turned on Rinnegan, the awakened pupil technique Tianchang Lizuan, can enhance my strength tenfold in all directions. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said proudly. 10 times stronger, so heaven-defying? Hyuga Chen was stunned. He thought his awakening pupil technique was already the most heaven-defying, but he did not expect that Otsutsuki Hagoromo's pupil technique was not weaker than him. It's really funny, ha ha ha. Hyuga Chen laughed loudly and looked at Otsutsuki Hagoromo greedily. If he swallows his Rinnegan, wouldn't he be able to get this heaven-defying pupil technique? Thinking of this, Hyuga Chen's eyes released blood. Originally, Hyuga Chen would not let go of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and now he will not let go. Being stared at by Hyuga Chen's greedy eyes, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was very uncomfortable. Hand over your eyes, I might spare you my life. Presumptuous, die for me. Otsutsuki Hagoromo was furious and struck Hyuga Chen with a monstrous palm. Hyuga Chen did not flinch. He also wanted to see how much the pupil technique of Tianchong Lizuan could be increased, and whether Otsutsuki Hagoromo was bragging. This time, Hyuga Chen gathered all the power of his body in the palm of his hand, and banged against Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Otsutsuki Hagoromo was repelled several kilometers by the powerful force of Hyuga Chen, and Hyuga Chen was also repelled several hundred meters. Ha ha ha, really strong enough. Hyuga Chen said with a big laugh. Previously, Hyuga Chen could hang Otsutsuki Hagoromo and fight without all his strength, but now he used his whole body strength and was repelled. This shows how much Otsutsuki Hagoromo has been strengthened. Otsutsuki Hagoromo was not so happy anymore, and his face was gloomy. Relying on the explosive power of chakra, as well as his own physical strength, he actually fell into a disadvantage when confronted with Hyuga Chen, who only relied on physical strength. He couldn't believe how strong Hyuga Chen's power was. Perhaps physical skills alone could beat him to death with a few punches. Otsutsuki Hagoromo was very unwilling and jealous in his heart. He was the ancestor of ninjas. The one who created ninja and passed on chakra was surpassed by his descendants. While being jealous of Hyuga Chen, he also felt very embarrassed. But the current situation does not allow him to think too much, because Hyuga Chen's blade has already chopped over. Otsutsuki Hagoromo took out his 6 tin sticks and collided with Hyuga Chen's Ryujin Jaka. The 6 tin rods of Otsutsuki Hagoromo were not created by yin and yang, but made of unknown materials, which are extremely hard. In the collision with the extremely sharp Ryujin Jaka, which was entwined with 6,000 degrees of blast, there was no damage. Hyuga Chen's sword skills are like streamers, and the angle of attack is very tricky, making people unable to react. Even Otsutsuki Hagoromo, whose strength has increased 10 times, can only resist with such sword skills. Facing Hyuga Chen's Ryujin Jaka, Otsutsuki Hagoromo didn't dare to let Hyuga Chen hit, especially the vital parts. Otherwise, being slashed by a sword carrying a 6,000-degree explosive flame, although he would not be hacked to death with a single stab with his strength, it would definitely not be better. With the clanging of swords and soldiers, Hyuga Chen and Otsutsuki Hagoromo have fought fiercely for a few hours, Chen's time. At this time, Hyuga Chen didn't have the slightest fatigue on his face, but became more and more excited, but Otsutsuki Hagoromo was no longer good. Although the pupil technique of Tianchong Lizuan was abnormal, his consumption was also very abnormal. Even though Otsutsuki Hagoromo's pupil power and chakra are almost infinite, they are not really infinite. Under such crazy consumption, they can't hold on. After antagonizing Hyuga Chen again, Otsutsuki Hagoromo dismissed the pupil technique of Tianchong Lizuan, and then used Sage Mode to absorb natural energy, barely resisting Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen kicked Otsutsuki Hagoromo away with a casual kick, feeling a bit boring. Before Otsutsuki Hagoromo hadn't lifted Tianchong Lizuan, Hyuga Chen still felt a little interesting, but now Hyuga Chen can solve him with a few tricks. It seems that you are already poor. Hyuga Chen shook his head disappointedly. Silver Will Reincarnation burst. Suddenly, a loud shout came from behind Hyuga Chen. Episode 185. The silver gravitational storm swept over Hyuga Chen like a violent wind. 6 Dao Super Jade Spiral Shuriken. Hyuga Chen turned his head and threw the 2 huge spiral shurikens out of his hand, colliding with the Silver Will Reincarnation explosion. After a stalemate, the Silver Will Reincarnation burst away, and 2 weakened spiral shurikens flew towards Otsutsuki Himura. Otsutsuki Himura did not hesitate, and immediately left the place with Huangquan Hirazaka. The spiral shuriken fell the moment Otsutsuki Himura left, leaving a deep sinkhole on the ground. Otsutsuki Himura, who had escaped the blow, was sweaty. If he was hit, he could be beaten to ashes. Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Otsutsuki Himura stood side by side, looking at Hyuga Chen vigilantly, feeling slightly bitter in their hearts. They have followed the ninja world for so many years, but the metamorphosis of Hyuga Chen is just like popping out of a rock. There was no information about Hyuga Chen before. The key point is that the strength of Hyuga Chen, who jumped out, was too abnormal. Originally thought that after sealing the mother, they would be invincible, but suddenly Hyuga Chen hit them in the face. Not only did they slap them in the face, but now they still want their lives. How about we let it go? I won't interfere with you, and you won't violate us either. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said in a deep voice. Huh? Are you funny? Do you think I can let go of the fat in your mouth? 723-inch Hyuga Chen looked at Otsutsuki Hagoromo with a foolish look. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's old face flushed, and he was extremely embarrassed. Don't think that I can do nothing with you, I just don't want to die. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said angrily. The fish die and the net is broken? Huh, it's up to you? Hyuga Chen glanced at him disdainfully, his eyes full of contempt. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's anger rose in his heart, and he has been so despised for so many years. You hold him first. Otsutsuki Hagoromo said, then his expression became serious. Otsutsuki Himura is upset. What is he holding Hyuga Chen now? Will he take the head? Otsutsuki Himura no longer wanted to continue the fight. He wanted to take the opportunity to leave. Even if he left the earth, he would also avoid this plague god. I can't hold him anymore, you should do it yourself. Otsutsuki Himura said lightly. Otsutsuki Hagoromo became angry when he heard the words, and a cold light appeared in the purple Rinnegan, and then quickly converged. Hyuga Chen looked at the two of them with interest. If the two of them fight, it would be even more interesting, Hyuga Chen thought, touching his chin. But this is just to think about it, no matter what kind of grievances the two of them have, they won't be in conflict at this time, because they still have Hyuga Chen in front of them. Himura, you have to think about it. You think you can escape in his hands? Otsutsuki Hagoromo narrowed his eyes. He was an old fox who had lived for more than 700 years. How could he not understand Otsutsuki Himura's thoughts? Yes, thank you for your reminder, I can't let you run away. Otsutsuki Hagoromo's words also reminded Hyuga Chen. Space is blocked. Hyuga Chen gave a soft cry, and the space fluctuated invisibly before returning to normal. Now the entire space has been sealed off by Hyuga Chen, and no one except him can use space ninjutsu. In this way, they are not afraid of running away. Although they can run away, Hyuga Chen can also catch up, but that is too much trouble. Otsutsuki Himura tried to use Hiroizumi Hirazaka, but it turned out to be very unsightly. The space that could have been opened easily, now there is no movement. The same ugly face is Otsutsuki Hagoromo. The space is blocked, which is not a good thing for him, which means that his original ultimate whole card is no longer available. Himura, gather the power of you and me to break the space blockade, otherwise we will only be trapped to death. Otsutsuki Hagoromo looked very serious. When Hyuga Chen crushed him with strength before, Otsutsuki Hagoromo was not so flustered now, but now Otsutsuki Hagoromo is indeed flustered. This time Otsutsuki Himura didn't say anything, just nodded silently. 6 ways Susanoo. Otsutsuki Hagoromo showed his full strength to Susanoo, and his size has surpassed 10 tails. Damn, Susanoo can be this big? Hyuga Chen looked at the tall Susanoo, and had to sigh. But why is he stronger than Otsutsuki Hagoromo, but can't use such a tall Susanoo? Hyuga Chen pondered this question quietly, perhaps because he had never tried it. At this time Otsutsuki Himura also moved, and the chakra on his body was continuously transmitted to Otsutsuki Hagoromo, making the already huge Susanoo bigger. Just stand on the ground and let the big cave sink. The huge Susanoo clenched a fist and threw it out, but instead of attacking Hyuga Chen, he hit an empty space. Although the size of the body does not mean that the strength is strong, the strength of this Susanoo is very strong. This punch made a huge air cannon, and even the space blocked by Hyuga Chen made a cracking sound of relief. Sage Art would style real number Senju Ding Shangwaya. How can Hyuga Chen tolerate the Susanoo pretense and use Wood Style's ultimate trick? Compared with Senju Hashirama's big Buddha, Hyuga Chen used it was much taller, more powerful than 10 times stronger, and countless arms hit Susanoo. Boom. 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 The fists and palm prints slammed down, like a violent storm. There is a saying that 2 fists are hard to beat 4 hands. Senju Buddha doesn't know how many palms there are, and they all hit them together. Even the 6 ways of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Susanoo, can't resist, and can only be passively beaten. Every punch fell like a falling star, and even though Lu Dao Susanoo's defense was very strong, it was shattered by the armor he hit. After one round of attacks, Lu Dao Susanoo was in tatters, and Senju Buddha's arms were all shattered. Generally speaking, no one took advantage. Seeing that the Senju Buddha had finished attacking, the Otsutsuki Hagoromo brothers just wanted to breathe a sigh of relief. They saw the Senju Buddha's arms grow out again and launched another attack against Susanoo. When the two behemoths confronted each other, it was the Earth Lord who suffered, and the poor Earth Lord was beaten in pits. Susanoo slash. Otsutsuki Hagoromo, who didn't want to be passively beaten, screamed, ignoring the fist of the wood-style Buddha, gathered all the power of the 6 Dao Susanoo and swung the sword, carrying the long sword with a shocking force, and slashed at the wood-style Buddha. Before the sword fell, the huge sword energy had cut off the arm of the wood-style Buddha until it hit the wood-style Buddha's body. This powerful sword cut across the wood-style Buddha like cutting tofu, cutting the huge wood-style Buddha in half diagonally. Hyuga Chen used the repulsive force to repel all the storm dust, and looked at the huge 6 Dao Susanoo in surprise. He didn't expect this Lu Dao Susanoo to be more violent than the wood-style Buddha. It could cut the wood-style Buddha in half with one sword. What Hyuga Chen didn't see was that the 2 brothers Otsutsuki Hagoromo among Susanoo were already out of breath. Obviously, it was very expensive to issue this blow.